Today I'm going to talk about how there are no shortcuts. Success takes discipline. You have to work at it, no matter what career you're in. I'm gearing this towards actors, but as I thought about it and I looked at some of the response of my other videos where people were watching it that weren't even involved in acting, that weren't even involved in directing, that weren't even involved in filmmaking or editing, people think success is a mystery. It's really not. It takes discipline and hard work. I know you've heard that for years. You've heard that on and on and on from your parents, from your grandparents, from everyone. But no one really gives you details. I mean, concrete evidence or a concrete checklist to make. I'm a strong believer in making checklists, planning what you're going to do, thinking it through. Sometimes those plans will change. A lot of the lists I make, I end up changing them. I'm using this electronic Microsoft list right now. I forgot the exact name, but it's a Microsoft list. It's free. You can download it onto your computer, and it also syncs up with your phone. It's just a modern version of what I always used through my whole life, handwritten lists on paper. And I would keep those with me. Things, long-term goals and short-term goals. Now, honestly, I'm going to be open with you. I did not meet all of my long-term goals, but I kept trying. I kept working towards it. And many people who I've worked with in the past, who I gave this same information to, succeeded in what they were trying to get. They succeeded in striving towards their goals. This works. Talent versus discipline. That's my first topic that I want to talk about. Now, you do need some degree of talent to succeed in whatever area you're interested in, be it acting, be it directing, be it editing, filmmaking, be it working as a supervisor in a corporation, be an executive. Obviously, any of the jobs where you have to take a lot of education, a doctor, a lawyer, where you want to become a professor at college, that all takes discipline. It takes hard work and it takes discipline to reach your goal. And people always wonder, what's more important, your talent or your discipline? And a lot of times, honestly, to tell you the truth, the discipline beats out raw talent. Because a lot of times people have raw talent and they give up. I've known a lot of actors, I've known a lot of filmmakers, people who started out with me on this same path, and they were more talented than I was, but they gave up. They decided that, I don't want to continue this. I don't want to continue working towards this goal. I want to do something else. I want to do something more traditional. I want to do something more secure. And I understand that. I get it. Life comes around and life changes things. You can't all continue to strive for your goals no matter what. Some people do. I do. And honestly, to tell you the truth, it's hurt me sometimes. It's brought pain to my family. It's brought pain to my wife. It brought pain to my daughter when I kept striving for these goals that I continue to strive for right now. It's not easy. It's not easy because you see people that are your peers who succeed, who things seem to come easier to them. But it might not be your time. And the honest truth is, you may never reach those goals, but you have to try. If you quit, you definitely won't reach those goals. You have to keep going. And that's why some people say, if I had a little bit more talent, if I had a little bit more skill, if I was prettier, if I was taller, if I was shorter, if I was, a better actor, a better singer, a better dancer, maybe I would have made it. No, that's not always the case. There are a lot of people successful who are not as good as many of the people who gave up. So keep that in your mind when you're having those second thoughts about yourself, when you're listening to the naysayers who say, give up, do this, come work for the company business, go to work for my father, do this, do that, pulling you in all these different directions. And you know where you want to go. You know what your goals are. You know what your dreams are. You know what you want to keep working forward to. So keep striving. Keep striving for your goals. Don't let people pull you where they want you to go, where they think you should be going. This is your life. And as you get older, you realize that, boy, that went by fast. That went by quick. When you're young, in my 20s, when I was 15, 16, 17, I never thought about what was going to happen as I aged. I never thought about not reaching my goals, especially when I was in my 20s and I was in college. I had never had a doubt that I wouldn't have become an A-list actor. And I didn't. I ended up being a character actor, and I'm happy for that because I look at some of my friends who went into traditional jobs and they have good jobs, they have homes, they have nice families, they have everything that is considered the American dream. But they gave up their dream to have a nice, comfortable life. And I don't blame anyone who does that because we would not have a country. Everyone can't pursue the arts. Everyone can't pursue their dreams. Some people have to work in traditional jobs. That's what makes our society go on. So you have to make that decision for yourself. I can't make that decision for you. But I want you to know that there is that possibility that you might not reach that goal. You might not reach that dream. But I say strive for it. If it's something that you really want, if it's something that you feel strong about and passionate about, and you really want to continue to move forward, move forward. Because the worst thing is when you get old and you look back and you say, if I had kept going, maybe I would have made it. Maybe I would have had my chance. Maybe I would have had my shot. So remember, keep striving for your dreams. Another thing that's important is having daily habits that point you towards your goal. I know a lot of people may not have told you about this, but if you make those lists and you make those plans and you know where you want to go, think of the steps. Maybe find someone who is where you want to be or someone who is on that same path with you. And you think of the steps, the little steps that are going to take you to your goal. Every day, work towards those. It may not be a big deal, but if you continue to work towards your goal and take those steps, every little step leads you closer to your goal. And that's how it works sometimes. You hear the stories of people who overnight success. And even most of those stories of an overnight success, they're not true. People, they may still be young, but they may have done things before they even became on anyone's radar. They may have been moving towards that direction. They may have given up things. They may have worked towards things. They may have worked in a certain job that gave them access to people who were on that higher level. Those are the things you got to think about. How can I strategically put myself in a situation to move towards the goal I want? And you need to plan that out. You need to make some kind of structure. And when I say plans, those plans can always be revised. So don't think because you write something down when you're 20, it has to stay the same when you're 30. You may revise those plans. You may find another way in. And if you can't get through this front door, try the side door. If you can't get through that side door, try the back door. There are always ways to get towards your goal. But make sure you have some type of plan that will take you on those steps, step by step by step. And you need to think that in advance. Don't just sit back and do positive thinking. I'm going to make it. You need to work. You need to work. You need to strategically plan. You need to decide how you're going to climb that mountain. What are you going to do to get prepared? So those are the steps you need to think about as you move towards your goal. Stop waiting for perfect. I hear a lot of people say, oh, when I get this, I'll be able to move forward. Oh, when I learn this, I'll be able to move forward. Oh, when I'm in this kind of situation and I have these debts paid off. No. Keep moving towards your goal. Do little things you can. If you have to work a part-time job, if you have to work a full-time night job, if you have to work a full-time day job, cut out time for yourself so that you can work towards your goal. Don't give up on it. Things will get tough. Times will get tough. Sometimes you feel like you've hit that brick wall and you can't find any way over it. Keep researching. Talk to other people. Now we have ChatGPT. We have all this artificial intelligence. Ask questions of them. Ask them to help you make a plan to move towards your goal. You'll be surprised at what you can get back. I've received some great information from this new artificial intelligence. It knows everything that we know, but it knows everything. So if you give it a specific prompt towards what you want to do, it potentially can help you. It can help you start building your plan. It's not going to be perfect, but you, as the human, with human intelligence, you can look at it. It's a great starting point. And you can refine your plan. You can say, okay, this step says this, but my uncle knows this guy, and he may be able to get me a job where I'm working in the mailroom, or he may be able to get me a job where I'm in proximity of the agents that I want to meet. So make those plans, make those strategic steps little by little. Remember, you want to reach your goal, so you have to know where it is, and you have to know how you're going to climb that ladder to get to your goal. don't give up. You need to have discipline in the downtime. There are going to be times when things aren't going your way, when everything looks like it's a roadblock. Your car's broken down. The water heater on your home has broken down. You have to take the money you were saving to take a class or get new headshots. I mean, again, I'm referring this to actors because primarily my audience are actors, directors, and editors and filmmakers. But these steps will work for anyone. I worked for a gentleman, I shot videos for him, who was a motivational speaker for young people. And one of the best things he did was he reached out to these young people who had never had anyone, they were from lower economic background, and they never had anyone talk to them about making a plan, about trying to see how they want to move their life forward, not just winging it and going day by day. Oh, I'll do this when I get out of high school. Make a plan. Set some goals and work towards those goals. This information works for anybody who wants to succeed, to be successful. Success doesn't just happen. It comes from taking step by step by step. Now, sometimes you may be taking these step by step by step, and then all of a sudden a door opens, and it may not be the success that you were working towards, but it's a great success. And you can go right in that door. I've seen a lot of people do that. But they had to climb that ladder to get to that door that opened for them, and it was a success in a career that they never even thought about. So don't think that success will only come one way. You never know where you're going to be successful at. You never know what field you're going to be successful in. You may be working towards being an actor, and then all of a sudden, as you climb that ladder, you get the opportunity to write a script. You get the opportunity to direct a film. You get the opportunity to edit a feature film. So never be wearing those blinders that they used to put on their horses, where you're only looking at that one thing. There may be opportunities all around, and you want to seize those opportunities. And maybe one of those opportunities you take, that will be the path that will lead you where you want it to go, just another step. You may think that opportunity is the final stage of my success, but no, that opportunity will lead you on another step towards your real goal, the one that you've been dreaming of since you were 20 years old. So continue in the downtime to plan and climb that ladder, but you got to plan. Actors, you need to practice off camera. Don't think that you can just show up on the set one day and you have your lines and you are going to be brilliant. You need to practice. You need classes. You need workshops. You need fellow actors who you put together your own acting group so that you guys can run lines together. You guys can do scenes together. You guys can work on your craft. You can make yourself better. Don't think you don't have to practice. This is the saying I tell all young people when I work with them. Some of the most talented sports athletes, singers, dancers, they still practice. They still have trainers. They still have coaches. Why? They're at the top of their game. So if you're down there and you want to get to where they are, you need to practice. You need to work at your craft. You need to study. You need to read. There are a lot of books out there. I know nowadays people aren't into reading books as much as they used to be, but there's a lot of great information in books, and you can find those books for basically nothing on Amazon.com. There have been millions, I don't know millions, but maybe millions of books written on whatever your career choice is. Now, I'm not talking about the high-tech things that are out there now. That also takes practice. That also takes planning. That also takes research. That also takes talking to people who are where you want to be and finding out how they got there. People want to help you, but you have to ask. And you have to plan how I'm going to reach them, how I'm going to find the information that they have, how I'm going to get them to share with me the knowledge that they have so that I can enter the career that I want to enter. Following up is a skill. A lot of times people forget that. When someone lets you through that door, or someone helps you up that step that you're trying to make on the ladder, or they give you some information, or they point you in the right direction, always follow up. Follow up with a thank you note, not an email. Emails are okay, but follow up with a handwritten thank you note. Follow up with a phone call if they're open to that. But follow up. Thank people who help you. Don't forget, they're helping you, and people want to help you. But you have to be able to thank them for that help and willing to thank them. And if you can along the way, you help someone else. You don't have to be at the top to help people. You know, if you know someone who's working and you're 3 steps up the ladder and you can help them get 1 step up the ladder, help people. Help someone. And when someone helps you, make sure you follow up and you thank them. Rejection is not failure. When, for instance, an actor, you don't get that role you want. You don't get that commercial you were trying for. Singers, you don't get that contract, or you don't get that opportunity to do the open mic. Rejection isn't a failure. That's something you're going to have to get used to in any business. The entertainment business, much more than any other business. But all businesses have rejection. You may not get the promotion you wanted in the office. The supervisor position comes open and you have been there for 1 year. They may bring a supervisor from outside the company. But don't let that stop you from working towards your goals, moving along your track, following your plan. Yes, that plan I talked about earlier. You're going to continue to follow your plan. If the plan seems to be a roadblock, think of a way around it. Don't just give up. Don't just give up because you're rejected. Someone didn't like you. Maybe you were too tall. Maybe you were too short. Maybe you were too heavy. Maybe you were too thin. Maybe your voice was too high. Maybe your voice was too low. Maybe they didn't like how your eyebrows looked. Maybe your hair wasn't long enough. There could be millions of reasons why you're rejected. Don't think it's personal. I know it feels personal, but especially in the entertainment business, I know it feels personal, but as far as actors go, this is something I know a lot, and I've dealt with thousands of rejections, thousands of commercials, literally, I'm not kidding, auditions where I didn't get the part, where I got a call back, where I went to producers and I didn't get the part. It hurts, but you have to realize that that's part of the process. I told my agent the other day, I didn't get this commercial, national commercial. And she said, I'm sorry about that, blah, blah, blah. I said, thank you. But I know that that rejection is just putting me one step closer to my goal of booking the next one. That's how you have to think about it. You have to continue to move forward. You can't let it tear you down and erase all the progress you've made because you didn't get this one job. There are more jobs on the way. And I know it's hard when it's downtime and it's slow. It's slow right now here in California. All the productions are leaving California. I had left California myself for 2 years during the pandemic, and I went to Atlanta, and I had a lot of auditions, more auditions in Atlanta than I had in Georgia, than I had in my whole career. No exaggeration. I had a great agent, and they were getting me out on everything. Big parts, small parts. It was amazing because all the productions are leaving California. And so now it's kind of dry here in California, but I'm not going to let that stop me. My family is here in California, so I'm going to find other ways to move forward, to continue on my goal. And that's what you need to do. If something's in the way, find a way around it. If something's blocking you, jump over it, go under it. Whatever you have to do to continue on your path. If this is something that you want to do, don't let any of these rejections get you so down that you decide, I'm going to give up because of that. Like I said, if this is what you want, you have to work for it. It's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. And don't tell me the stories about, there's some people that, come out and decide they want to be an actor and the next day they're in a major motion picture. Yeah, that happens. There's people also that go to the corner liquor store and buy a lottery ticket and they're multimillionaire. That's not the norm. That's the strike of lightning. That's the 1 in a million. But most people live in the reality of this business, that you have to work to get to where you want to go. Discipline feeds confidence. Now, this is a big one, and this is one that I always rely on. When I am casting a role, big or small, I study it like my life depends on it, especially when I'm working on a SAG film, any film I decide to take the role in, even if it's a non-union film, it's a small film, it's a big film. If I decide to take the part, I work on it like it's the last film I'm going to get. I study my lines. I understand my character. I know where my character came from. I know my character's backstory. I know what my character will and won't do. Now, all this doesn't show up in the film. All this, the writer doesn't even know all the stuff that I create as a backstory for my character. But that gives you confidence that you know this character inside and out. And if the lines change, you know what this character is going to say. You know what this character will and won't do. You understand your dialogue, you know it like the back of your hand, and once you start delivering it on set, you're no longer thinking about what those words are. That preparation gives you the confidence to deliver a professional, polished, #1 delivery of your content. So you need to prepare. You need to prepare, and that makes you confident. As long as you are very prepared for your role, even if it's a one line in a commercial. One of my very first lines in a feature film was Hairspray, the original Hairspray that John Walters directed in Baltimore. And my line was, "Yes, ma'am, can I help you?" And I studied that line. I worked on that line. I built that character. And that's all that he said in the film. He was a police officer in a black neighborhood. And the woman ran over to the car. Yes, ma'am, can I help you? I still remember that line to this day because that was one big turning point for me. That was the very first SAG film I did. And I carried that experience all through my career to where I'm sitting with you right now talking. I understood the importance of being prepared and delivering a professional performance when I arrived on the set. No matter what happened, I was ready to do that one line. And that's how important you have to take these roles and be prepared when you get on the set, because you want to be a professional. If you're deciding that I want to be an actor, I want to be a director, I want to be a filmmaker, an editor, if I want to be a writer, you want to prepare for your career. You don't just want to wing it. You don't just want to be a flash in the pan who has that one opportunity and then you never see them again. That happens a lot in this business also. It happens a lot in all kinds of businesses. But if you're prepared and you're dedicated and you are confident in your abilities and your talent, then that can carry you. Your preparation is something you do alone when nobody's watching, and you can't cheat yourself. You can't cheat yourself. You can cheat other people, but you know the truth. And with that truth of being prepared, that's what makes you confident. That is what makes you believable. That is what makes you stand out from the other actors. So if you're given that opportunity and this is something that you want to do, make sure you're prepared. You know those lines in and out backwards. Some actors have what they call a photographic memory. I don't. I have to really study my lines. I have to listen and read the lines of the other characters so that I know why they're talking to me this way, what they're saying to me. I don't just read my lines. I need to know what's going on in the whole scene. And it's work. It's work. But it's pleasure if it's something that you want and that you are striving for. And it's a goal you want to reach. So make sure you're prepared and that confidence will come. Trust me. I'll see you in the next one.